Hey guys, so today we are going to continue on with some of our more advanced isometric designs. Now I looked up isometric kitchen on Google and I found just a whole slew of fun little designs that you can kind of take inspiration from. But we're going to do something pretty simple here. We're going to do something. You notice they all tend to have the same thing. We're not going to include too many things. We're not going to include a fridge. We're not going to include a sink or a stove. Not quite yet. I mean, we might include one of those later. But we're going to include some cabinets and some counter space, and we're going to include obviously a floor and a ceiling and another series of colors and stuff. So let's see if we can't, or floor and walls. We'll have the same little thing here. And we did a similar thing like this last year with Design Spark Mechanical for the people who are in level 3. You might remember doing this last year with the room that we used, but we created like a bit of furniture and stuff like that. So this should kind of be similar. Some of these things that you see here, I want to say a few of these here. Like I think this one that has this one right here. I don't think this was made in Illustrator. I think this was made probably like in Blender or some sort of like 3D art kind of a thing, where you can kind of force perspective, much like we did last year with the Design Spark Mechanical here. But this will afford us some more color opportunities. So let's go ahead and just open up our isometric grid. So I think last year, the last thing I said was we might want to like try to save both our grid and our toaster in different files and stuff. So if our toaster is like, obviously takes up this entire 2000 square, thing, then that's one thing. But in this case, I'm just gonna, all you really gotta do in this case is just like, maybe take your toaster, save it as something else, delete your toaster, and you're left with your grid here. So let's find your grid. I got my 2000 by 2000 canvas here, and I'm gonna start off with just the walls here. So I'm gonna rough out, I can make this as big as I possibly can here. I'm gonna rough out a series of walls here. I'm gonna go as high as I possibly can without being too ridiculous, I suppose. And I'll just start like this. Let's see if we can't match these up here. Alright, looks good. Alright, so I'm gonna go in here real fast and just fix these corners here. I'll do this before I do the next step, which is going to be, oops. Okay, that's good. I'll pull this down here. Or sometimes these things like to snap to a pixel grid, so if it might be even easier just to take off your smart guides here. So what I'll do is with this, I'll right click on this, transform, reflect, and make a copy of it, and just sort of yank this to the side here. Let me just get both of these selected and make their stroke a good deal bigger. And maybe make their stroke red too, so it shows it better. That's a good way of doing it. And I'll just get real close. I just get my move tool so I don't accidentally grab just the point here. Okay. And here we are. For some reason, it's not snapping here. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to Effect, or rather View, Smart Guides. Take off Smart Guides. So hopefully now we can actually just move it around. There we go. Now it's there. Good. All right. So now it's just mostly just a pixel grid. All right. Cool. And then I'll just do one last thing here. I'll just take this and I'll arrange. I'll transform, rotate 90 degrees here. Actually, 60 degrees seems good. I'll make a copy of it. Alright, so I rotated 60 degrees there instead of 90. And we'll just hold this down here. And we'll match this up as well. Okay, so we have our floor and our ceiling, and I made it as big as I possibly could while still maintaining sort of a true kind of backing of the grid here. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we need to make some decisions as far as what goes where, as far as like what colors are, and how this is going to be how this is going to be kind of seen in terms of color. So I'm going to go back to my handy dandy, color.adobe website here. I think they made some changes to it, so probably going to like spam you with these like little, oh hey, we changed things. Yeah, just ignore it. And you can just look up, we go to explore here, and just look up something like Memphis. And so remember, we talked about Memphis in our art, shall we say, movements here. So you can take this, thing here, and so here, download. Let's see how do I download this. I forget. We could download it, or we could just take a screenshot of it. If once again you hold on the FN key, that's on the bottom of your screen there. I don't have that. I'm just going to just use my snipping tool here. You don't have a snipping tool, so just hold on FN on the keyboard, and then tap the print screen button that's above your cursor keys, your arrows. And then once you have that, it's copied the screenshot here. Go back to your .aa file here, and then you just Control V and paste it. So I'll just take that and just drag this over here, and I'll make this be my palette, as it were. I'm going to hold down Control and tap the semicolon button just to get rid of the grid for now, and I'll just make this, be my wall. So I might actually just take this and just make this, and just take my HSB, hold on the brightness some. I'll know how to do that, and then the same thing here. I'll take this and I'll just, okay, and we'll just sort of finish this all up by getting our pen tool here and just getting the grid back up. And I'm going to make a sort of border that goes across this, so it's going to be, I'm going to make it 3, kind of squares thick, and I'll just kind of pull this down, straight down, and make this a border here. I just sort of wanted to add something there, and I'll just make that sort of a gray color here. And at this point, we need to make some decisions in terms of what our dark side is going to be. So this right here is going to be the dark side, so I'll make that be a dark gray. And then I'll just get it real close here and make sure this matches up. So we use the direct select tool just to click on a single anchor point, and then we can move it once we've selected it. And so we'll check down here. Okay, that's good. And then we'll just remove tool here. Right click on this, transform, reflect, copy that. Bring it over here, and I'll make it a lighter gray. Just so we know that's what. And then once again, right click on it, transform, rotate. In this case, I'm going to rotate it. Let's look here. How about 120 degrees? Let's see what that looks like. There we go, 120 degrees. Okay. Drag that up to right about there. And we'll, oops, I should make a copy. Right click on it, transform, rotate 120 degrees. Okay, and we'll press copy, and we'll drag this on top. And we'll get our direct select tool here. Get real close. And we can select 2 of these points at the same time. And drag them both down to connect up there. Connect this point up here to the grid. And even if it's going off the grid, we can shrink it back down later, but we want to keep it all lined up on the grid at this point. And that's good. And I'm going to just kind of keep my sort of, shall we say, top layer, my layer that's facing the, facing up. I'm going to have that be my lighter color. So I'll just make this a lighter shade of gray, like 2 up here. And so we can have that. So obviously at this point you can have whatever you'd like in terms of your shall we say, color scheme. But now we're going to get into our different shapes here. And I'm going to ask that you do some basic shapes here, and then from there you can kind of do whatever you like. So I'm going to go in here to get my control here. So I'm going to go in here to my kind of wall shape here, and I'm going to start designing a counter that's going to go across the across this around the corner here. So I'm just going to get my pen tool here, and I'm just going to start, say, I'm going to just give myself like a, you know, I'll say like 1, 3, 6, yeah, 6 or so, and that'll be the height of my counter. And I'm gonna have this be sort of like a Tetris like L shape, like sort of an inverted L shape here. I'm gonna have it be short on one side and long on the other, and I'll have it just be I'll have it kind of come down to the floor, so it'll seem like it's going down to the floor. And once again, I'm following the lines of the shall we say. So if I look at this, I want to make sure it's the same width here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. So I'm going to go in 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like so. I want this to be lined up with a wall on the outside here. So I'm going to take this, my direct select tool, I'm just going to drag this all the way here. Then I'm going to drag this to where it's lined up with it. Like so. And okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to round this. I'm going to round this one, and I'm also going to round this one off here. I'm going to round this one off as well. So I'm just going to take this and just sort of pull this inwards, just to round it off some. And let's try this one more time. I'm going to click on these little widgets here. 1, 2, 3. Holding on Shift, just drag them in, just where so they all curve a little bit. All right, cool. So. With that done, I can sort of change the color here. Maybe to this, I'm going to change it to this sort of orange color, as it were. And I'll just get back in here. And what I'll want to do now is I'm going to want to create my sort of middle, like sort of my counter surface down here, which I'll just have that be one sort of square thick. So I'm gonna start designing this. Obviously now at this point, this is where you can kind of like make some decisions on your own here. So I'm gonna have this be just this big. If you want, like say for instance, put a door here or something like that, you can make your own thing. But I want like a bent counter that has some sort of curved edges here. I want to see these little curves here. So let's get back into this. Okay, and I'm gonna have this be, you know, come down about to the point, say here. Maybe I'll have it come down not quite there. So I'll just have this come down to the point like that. And I'll have that, and I'll make this be a little bit darker, my HSB. And this is where I'm going to sample the swatch here. I'll put the saturation up too. I'm going to sample the swatch so I can have this kind of hanging out later for the gradient that we use later on. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let me just pull this over there. I'm just going to get my, like so, up like this. And I get the color, and I'll just sample this color here, and I'll make this only a little bit darker. Not quite as dark. So I should probably make this one a little bit darker here. Well, what I'll do is I'll just sample this one, then I'll make this slightly lighter, just so there's a difference between the two. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so what I want to make sure I have, a gradient that goes between these two right here. So I want to have this gradient be like just another basic shape. It's going to be like a kind of a trapezoid shape almost, or like a hexagon shape. I'm just going to create this little hexagon shape here. Hello. Alright, let's make this little hexagon shape like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it be filled with a gradient. And my gradient, oops, I didn't make sure I sampled this color here, and I save this color as its own gradient, its own swatch, as it were. And then with this gradient here selected, I'll have it go from one to the other. Let's have it go from, my gradient options have this stop be this color, and the other stop be this color. So it blends from one to the other here. And I'll just do the same thing with my curve. I'll curve this up. We just Control Shift and then pull it down to the bottom and sort of slowly work its way back up. And in this case, I'll just click once on this little widget here and see if I can't curve it around the same width as I had before. So this is about it right there. Okay, that's good. All right, and so we can kind of see what I'm looking for here. So we've got this. So you select, deselect. So we have this darker side here that it sort of blends into this lighter side. You can kind of see what's happening here. So let's make sure that everything's lined up and everything is looking good. I want to say this piece here needs to be dragged up a little bit. Okay. This piece here does too, probably. Alright, that's good. And I can even like make this a little bit higher up. Okay, good. And so we'll do the same thing again. We'll just take this angle here, and I'm going to take my pen tool and just, well, first off, what I'll do is I'll just sort of click and drag. I'm just going to alt drag this right here. I'm hold it with my V on the keyboard press. Alt drag this over here, line it up, get my direct select tool, select these two shapes here, these 2 points, and just drag that down. I'll get my move tool with my select tool again, V on the keyboard, alt drag this over this way, drag it up right against there, and get my direct select tool, so these 2 points, and then drag this over this way. And then what I can do is I can get my move tool here, alt drag, and just sort of pull this to where it needs to go. And then we do the same thing over here. We can just make the same little shape. In this case, I'm going to make this sort of an inverted trapezoid where like the 2 points are going up like this. Like so. And it's already set to be the same thing here. Let's pull this up a little bit. Okay, and then we'll just get the direct select tool, grab this little widget here, and see if we can't curve it around to fit above. Alright, let's take a look at what we got. Oh, in this case, we need to reverse this. So let's go ahead and go to 180 here. There we go. Alright, cool. Control, no, select, deselect. Alright. Alright, cool. So we've got this basically set up here, this counter space here. Let me just double check this right here. This looks like it needs to be kind of corrected. Yeah, right here, I've got this point needs to be joined back up. Sometimes these little details aren't a huge deal, but sometimes they make it or break it. So that one was a little bit obvious. Same deal here. I'm going to select both. Hold on the shift key and select both of these guys here. So obviously the first time you do that, it's going to be kind of important. All right. Okay, so we've got that. That's good. And I'll create the little cabinets beneath it. In this case, I'm just going to have these cabinets kind of being kind of flush against here. I won't have any lip over here, but I will have kind of a lip kind of going down here. So let me just go down to the floor, as it were. So I don't want to go past the floor. They're hanging out there right up against the wall. So I'm going to go from like the bottom of this to the floor, and I'm just going to go straight to the corner and have it go straight up to the corner like this. And I might even go past it, just to, you know, go up here, and I can even just select this and just drag this up a little bit. And then I'll make this a different color, just to make this color here. All right, where to go? And I'll pull that down. All right, so just one more. Okay, and then what we can do from here is we can actually create some more this sort of shape here. Once again, I'm going to follow along with the grid, mostly just connecting up with this shape that I just made. And I'll sample this, and I'll have this be a little bit lighter. Let's go over to my HSL and just make it a little bit lighter, enough to be visible here. And I'm just using my grid, my little grab bars there. All right, so if this is not your favorite not your favorite color scheme, that's fine. Obviously you can use a different one if you want. So I'm just going to, real quick, reproduce this right here by alt dragging it. I'll activate my grid one more time here. My select tool, alt drag this here, up at the corner, get my direct select tool. I don't need to do anything with the, drag it down, get this, alt drag this across, like so. Keep checking this to make sure there's nothing missing. Control Shift A to deselect everything. Real close here. Make sure this is all fixed up. Pull this down some. Up a little bit here too. Obviously at this point you should just be pretty much doing your own thing and making this design kind of like fit your tastes. See some music playing. Yeah. Okay, all right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a set of doors for each of these little guys here. I think we've got all we need in terms of just color palette here. I'm going to create one more little thing here just to kind of fit this in. Okay, so essentially what I'm going to do for the doors is I'm going to create like a rectangle here. So I'm just going to get back in here, get my gradient, my thing up here, and I'm going to have this be kind of lined up against the top there. I might go halfway down and just eyeball this. Pull this right like this. So. And I'll make this a little bit different color, maybe it's slightly darker than what it is right now. A lot darker. A little bit darker. And I'm going to go up here to Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. And I'll have this be, let's like, see if we can't pull this down to like a position, I want to say isometric left? Nope, isometric right. Isometric right. And I'm going to have it, the depth of the extrusion, I can preview this here. I'm going to have the, oops, let's actually cancel that real quick. Let's actually just do this number here. Let's actually just draw just a normal rectangle here. We'll have it just be about like yay big. And we'll do the same thing. So let's draw a rectangle, have it sort of guesstimate like how tall you want this to be. So in this case, I might just like kind of, oops, maybe about like this big or so, just to fit in. And then from here, what I can do is I can just go to, once again, Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel, and then I want Isometric left. No, Isometric right. And then I'll just preview this here. That's good. Okay, cool. And I want this to be maybe, say, like 10 pixels, 10 points here. Okay, that's good. And we'll press OK, and I'll just sort of drag this kind of hanging out, so where it's sort of hanging out here along the axis, and so we'll have that be our door, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'll just keep that same. I won't worry so much about the color here. Let me just transform, reflect, preview here. Nothing. Cancel this. Let's go to Object. Expand appearance. If you don't see expand appearance, you just see expand, then that's fine too. And once again, I'll just go to transform, reflect. Right, and I'll just make a copy. And I'll just drag it this way. And so we can kind of keep it lined up. I'll line up what I have lined up here. Yeah, just let this up here, and I'll just Alt drag this down a little bit here. Oops. I'll just Alt drag this down a little bit. And then what I can do is I can kind of like just line up where I have the top edge there. And once I have it duplicated once, I can just Control D until I get to the end there. That's good. That'll do. I think I could probably get this with these shapes here and just maybe make them a little bit darker, just so they fit better in with the yeah, the darker side there. All right, there we go. Looks looking good. And last thing I'll do is I'll make a little island here, so like a kitchen island. Oh, let's make a door real quick. Let's just let's take this and let's get our grid back up, and I'm just gonna make a door. First thing I'll do is I'm gonna make a just outline of the door here. So just oh. And I'll make that just be like a normal gradient from like dark to darker. So my gradient options, I'll have it be. Oh, here they are. I'll have this be like dark, and this could be darker. Okay. And then I'll have my gradient tool just sort of point it from one direction to the other, so dark to darker. And then what I'll do is I'll just make another little square down here just to kind of make this lead out by, I'll make a couple different little squares here. I'll make this, oops, control click, make a little square going this way. I have this hang out there, and then I'll have another little shape here. I can have that be the same color, and then just pull the brightness down some. Alright, cool. That's looking good so far. Alright, so we're just going to kind of come to a stopping point here, and we'll come back to this. But in the meantime, though, let's just go ahead and see if we can't get to at least one cabinet and a door on this little space here, and we'll just sort of pause that there, right? We'll just sort of turn that in. So let's go ahead and save this, submit it as a JPEG, let's first off, let's do this number here. Let's just take this. I'm going to select everything. Let's just show you. I'll just select everything. Hold Control and Shift so I can shrink it down to fit inside the artboard. File, export for screens. And then make sure you just call it kitchen part 1, and export that artboard. And then before you save it, undo what you just did so it's the right size. Keep your palette obviously, and then save it. So now you have it saved with the right proportion so it fits into the grid. All right, cool. So can't wait to see you guys produce. See you in class.